Welcome to CommodityIndia.com and second Global Milling Conference. Today we have Dr. Helena, who is a Flour Fortification Initiative. Tell me, what is fortification? Why do we need to fortify the cereal grains? What is the importance of it?
Okay. Well, fortification is the addition of vitamins and minerals to foods while they're being processed. And in the case of cereal grains, it would be adding vitamins and minerals to wheat while it's being made into wheat flour at the mill. With rice, you can also add vitamins and minerals by making these little extruded rice kernels using extrusion technology that have vitamins and minerals in them, and then you mix them in with the rice. So we really see that it's a tremendous opportunity to improve the vitamin and mineral intake, what people consume in the diet through fortified foods that can then have a health impact. So for example, we know that if we add a nutrient called folic acid, which is also known as vitamin B9, if we can add that to wheat flour, we can reduce the number of babies who have a birth defect that's called neural tube defects by at least 46%. So we feel that through fortification of cereal grains, which most people in the world eat, we can have an important health impact.
Coming specifically to your flour fortification, just we wanted to know what is this all program all about? This whole program, and also is it needed as we have removed most of the nutrients while processing grains into flour? I'm asking you if fortification is really needed or what, how it is.
So first, about the Flour Fortification Initiative, we work in providing advocacy and technical assistance to countries who want to do fortification of wheat flour, maize flour, or rice. So we are a very small group, but we work with a large network of partners throughout the world to try to promote fortification in any way. So we don't directly implement fortification, that's done by mills throughout the world. They're the ones who do the fortification. In terms of the milling process, yes, the milling process does remove many nutrients because oftentimes what's taken away is the outer layer of the grain, and there are a lot of nutrients in that outer layer. So the milling process does remove that and remove some of the nutrients. And what we can do with fortification is we can add those nutrients back to have the same level as is in the grain before it's fortified, and that's called restitution or restoration. Or we can add even more than what is naturally available if we think it will have an important health impact. And that's the case with folic acid, that we add more than what might be naturally available in the grain because we're trying to get women before they have babies to have enough folic acid in their bodies that will help prevent this birth defect.
Be into the pre-pregnant stage or during the pregnancy stage?
Well, this particular neural tube defect occurs between 3 and 4 weeks after conception, when most women do not even know they're pregnant. So it's really important that we get them this extra folic acid before they become pregnant. And that's what's really nice about fortification. We can increase the folic acid levels in all women through fortification, and so that when they do get pregnant, they're already in a good position.
All the cereals is included in that, or any particular cereals you are into working on?
At the Flour Fortification Initiative, we particularly work with wheat flour, maize flour, and rice because we estimate that 167 of the 197 countries in the world eat enough of one of those or all three of them that if we add vitamins and minerals, we can have a health impact. So we feel that by focusing on those three staple foods, we're going to be able to have a very large impact globally. There are other organizations that promote and work with countries who are fortifying other foods. We happen to have a very limited niche to these three cereal grains.
Coming to about the wide variation in storing, using and consuming a flour across the country, do we need to change the fortification process also? Any changes do we need in the fortification process?
Changes because?
Storing and also consumption of the flour.
So we know that with atta flour compared to maida flour, atta flour has a much reduced shelf life because it has extra fat that the maida flour doesn't have. So that extra fat makes it the shelf life reduced in general. And then when we add, there's some nutrients that we add that can promote lipid oxidation it's called, which can make the shelf life even shorter. What we recommend, well actually what the World Health Organization recommends is that when a country is going to fortify whole wheat flour like atta, that they add sodium iron EDTA, which is an iron compound that does not promote lipid oxidation, so it will not affect the shelf life any more than normal.
Okay.
So probably in India, the most important adjustment, if you will, compared to other countries, is that most of the flour here is atta, or this whole wheat flour, which requires a very special kind of iron compound that is typically not used in other countries. And so a lot of the work that we do is letting people know why it's important that they use this compound called sodium iron EDTA instead of others that are available, because unfortunately if they add other iron compounds, the body will not be able to absorb that as well, and we will not have the health impact that we would like to have.
Coming to like how can one ensure that the nutrients incorporated after the fortification has been that like it is available to the consumers?
Well, certainly at the mill, there's several steps that millers take to ensure that the flour is fortified, as it should be at the end. One is that they require a certificate of analysis from the vitamin and mineral premix providers. So they send a piece of paper that confirms with laboratory information that all of the nutrients that are supposed to be there are actually in the premix. Then there's a series of quality control measures that millers take in the mill, such as checking the dosage rate of how much premix gets added to the flour to make sure it's in the right proportion. There's also something called the iron spot test, which mills do. It's a very simple, low-cost test that allows them to see in the finished flour if, in fact, the nutrients were added. And they basically, you test to see if iron was added, and you assume that if the vitamin and mineral premix has iron plus other nutrients, all of those nutrients will be in the finished product. So those are all the steps that the mill takes in order to ensure that the final product has the vitamins and minerals that it should have.
Okay. Yeah, it was like well informative about the fortification to our viewers. What do you feel about this global milling conference for the industry, for the researchers? What is your opinion?
For example, my background is in nutrition, and this is the first milling conference I've ever attended.
Okay.
So I've learned so much about the milling industry in general and specific to India that I didn't know before. And I think this opportunity to bring groups who together we can do a lot together. I think we can be very successful in improving the health in India through fortification. So people like me from nutrition and health, working with the millers, bringing together researchers, I think together we can be more successful. And so the opportunity to come together, to talk, to dialogue, I think helps a lot. And something like this conference is very useful.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all the information with commodityindia.com. Thank you so much.
Yeah.